First, understretching our milk. Basically what we're doing is we're not injecting any air into that milk protein, so we're not going to create any foam or texture. We're superheating the milk, making it squeal, sounds horrible, and ultimately we're not doing anything to add value to the milk that we're going to be pouring into our coffees. Always purge. Starting off, basic mistake that we make is that our steam tip is just in too deep. So when we turn it on, we're not adding any air. No one wants to hear that in their kitchen every day, do they? Wipe your wand when you're finished, purge that wand. Now when we go to have a look at what happens, we pour that, we just end up with hot, thin milk, no texture, no foam, no love. So now that we've figured out that we don't want to murder our milk by strangling it in there, we now want to have a look at what we don't do when we overstretch it either. If we purge, we don't want to have that steam tip sitting right on the surface, because when we turn it on, dragging it down, we get too much air, we're getting too much foam created. It's going to be really dry and bubbly, really hard to manage. Very thick, not overly appetizing. Wipe and purge as always. When we then look at what's happening, when we adjust that foam and then try and adjust those textures, there's just way too much foam in there. Of course, when we then try and deal with that by pouring it into our coffee, we end up with just a big coffee flavored fluffy. So we've seen some good and some bads with thins and thicks. One of the other things that we really want to talk about is temperature. Having the milk at the ideal temperature really is a make or break for having a really tasty coffee. If your milk is too cold, we're just not going to get enough flavour coming through. And obviously if the milk's too hot, it's burnt, it tastes sour, and it's just really going to make your coffee taste awful. In terms of temperatures, the perfect temperature that we're looking for sits between 60 and 65 degrees. Most of us, 60 to 65 degrees will be a temperature you can tolerate to physically touch, but not hold on to. Basic human instinct, if you like. Those of you that do like your coffee extra hot, and I know there's a few of you out there, what we do recommend is that you take the cup or the vessel that you're going to serve your coffee in and heat that up first. Put some hot water in it from your machine so that vessel's going to be superheated. It's a little bit like putting hot food on a cold plate. We want to put hot food on a hot plate so the food stays hotter for longer. So when we're steaming our milk, we want that milk sitting at 60 to 65 degrees. We really want to feel that temperature from the base of the jug as well, rather than the side. Before we start, we purge, we start steaming. Our free hand monitoring that temperature from the base. Once we hit the desired temperature, we turn it off. Wipe, purge, and we should be ready to go. Some of you, rather than using your hands, may prefer to use a dedicated milk temperature or thermometer, popping that in before you start steaming. Ideally, if you are going to use a thermometer, make sure it's calibrated daily so that it's recording your temperatures accurately.